Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Thanks once again for joining me. And if you're new here, please subscribe and share. So, guys, we're revisiting with phals, and I've done a video earlier recommending that phalaenopsis, and we shorten it by calling it phals. This is what they look like for persons who are new to orchids. These are not in bloom, but these are the regular supermarket. You see them in the supermarket. You see them in the department stores, Lowe's and Home Depot, and they're also in the community nurseries. And they are a well-gifted item when they are in bloom. So we recommend that if you're interested in orchids, interested in learning the care of orchids, we recommend that phals is one of the items, that one of the orchids that you start with and get to know how to care for the plant. So a previous video I did was to explain how to repot and what the signs are to look for. So I'm going to revisit some of those concerns. So here in South Florida, we were blessed to break the summer heat, break the humidity and everything for the last 3.5 weeks with heavy showers and thunderstorms. Every day we would have rain for the last 3.5 weeks, and that we have to be thankful, because it was so humid here, so something had to break that heat, and we are very thankful. So guys, with that, a lot of the plants got oversaturated, including my phals. I pulled some of them for you to see, and they're healthy plants. And for a while I didn't get the knack of phals until recently. So after blooming, I was able to have them having robust leaves, and they're growing nicely. Look at that, how thick and big those leaves are, and they're getting repeated growth with leaves. So the blooming season for these has passed, and they're going through their growth period. If you could notice, on some of them I didn't cut the spikes as yet. I need to trim them up. So with the rains, guys, I recently tended to repotting and taking care of these, and some of them still had blooms on them, so I left the spikes. So guys, what happened with the rains and everything, you hear us saying do not overwater, do not overwater. Overwatering can cause root rot, crown rot, and with that you could tell by the early signs of the leaves starting to be droopy and have that yellow, I could tell from this one. Yeah, that's an early sign from the rain. And as you could see, guys, looking at, it's very moist. The media is very moist, too moist. So my concern this morning, guys, is to go through my phals. I'll have to take them in category. I'll be doing my phals, then I'll be doing my cattleyas. My most of the vandas, they're intact because they're hanging, and the water, it goes through, and they're heavy drinkers. The vandas are heavy drinkers, so they will tolerate more water, especially the rain, than the potted orchids like the cattleyas and my phals. So what happened, guys, I was looking at these, you start seeing these brown brown roots coming on. So I know I have to pay attention to my roots or to do another repotting. I really don't recommend repotting so often, but what happened here with the rains, guys, I have to do something before losing them. So what I'll be doing, guys, is to go through each pot and check the roots and do a complete media change, give them new, because you know it's very saturated. And instead of thinking, oh, it's too early to repot again, it's better to do that and save the plant, because I don't want to have too much. I don't want to lose them. I've come this far with them, you know. I don't really want to lose them. So it's best to do an emergency repotting and get them ready for the cold season, when their blooming season is at its peak. So I have to do an emergency repotting there. So if you could look, guys, you'll see how wet or moist the media is. I have them in moss, sphagnum moss, and charcoal, and some barks. But with that, you know, there's a lot of root rot that can go there. And if the roots are not healthy, if the root is having problem, because that's how they get their feed. If the roots are not healthy, they will rot, and I'll end up losing them. So that's one of the tips, guys. What you start with your phals. We explain how to pot it, how to repot it, but then you have to maintain, and you have to look for the early signs for what's happening. Right now they're happy, the roots are thick, and the leaves are thick, and the foliage is going. If you could see, they're doing their thing, it's going, see. But if the roots are not happy, all of this that the plant has done, we are going to lose the plant. Little by little, you'll start seeing small yellow leaves coming, and then the leaves that are there, they'll start looking droopy. Look how crisp these leaves are. Yeah, they will start looking droopy, and then you'll say, what am I doing? What's going on? Either you overwater, or it got rained on and it's oversaturated. And while people say nothing like the rainwater, some people say you can't have, yes, you can have too much, because if there's a rule that overwatering can cause root rot, crown rot, and for you to lose the entire plant, then it doesn't matter what water, whether it's the rainwater has less chemical and it's better for the orchids, but you should not have too much. It can, just like when it's too hot, when it's too cold, when we get too much rain on the plants, we could lose them. So we have to check on that also, guys. That's another thing in maintaining the phals, and it's every orchid that you pot. But since we're helping beginners to see the signs, pick up on the early signs, and then you have to critique things. You have to say, what is going on here? What will this affect? What effect this will have on my plants? Too much water. Even though you say, okay, I'm gonna do a check after the rain and see what's going on, and you say, oh, the leaves look good, but you still have to do your check. It has taken too long, and you know, it has been raining for 3.5 weeks, almost a month, and it's constant every day. So something has to be done with them. No matter how healthy the plants look, I have to check the roots. It does not look good. It's too moist, and I could see some discoloring on the roots. Some of the roots are getting a little brown, and you know, that is an early sign that it's either getting too much water or something is going on. So, you know, that's one of the tips that we give or we share with persons who are starting to do orchids. And we always recommend that you start, you know, it's good to start with the phals, and they're easy to get. You know, you don't want to start with something that's rare and then you fall in love with it and then you can't replace it. The phals, they're in the supermarkets, they're in the pharmacy, they're like all over. You start with your phals and you get to learn. And learning the phals, there's a lot, but once you get a knack of it, you're good, because you also have to know the blooming season. Like, these are not blooming now. It doesn't mean that you're not going to tend to them and care for them and fall in love with them, because when they start bloom, these phals, they bloom. You'll see them blooming all year round in the supermarkets, but when you take them home, they will be seasonal, you know. And the ones I have here in the cooler months, to early summer, they will bloom for me. And then they're going through after the blooming season, you know, they have to take their time to regroup and to get back their strength to produce blooms. And that is why some persons would recommend to cut these. Some persons don't, because they think they'll rebloom. These, I'm going to cut these. I'll do another video where I repot and clean this up, you know, cut all these the spikes that you know, where the flower is faded. So once these need to cut, because once they are there, these spikes, they're probably telling the nerve of the plant that, oh, mommy's expecting you to bloom again. So I need to cut it and give her a chance to get in the mode of growing and getting back that strength to bloom when the cooler months are here. So guys, thank you for joining me. Thank you for growing with me.